Trade fears hang heavy on Wall Street, and Commerce Secretary, as Guy had mentioned, adding to worries earlier today during an interview right here on CNBC.
We're miles and miles from getting a resolution, and frankly, that shouldn't be too surprising. Trade is very complicated. There are lots and lots of issues, not just how many soybeans and how much LNG, but even more importantly, structural reforms that we really think are needed.
Our next guest disagrees, says the trade war drama could be resolved this quarter. For more, let's bring in Hogan, Chief Market Strategist at National Securities, who apparently has been in the markets for decades and decades and decades. Do you have an inside source in Beijing? Art, how do you know that this could be resolved this quarter?
No, I think it's much more of a common sense when we think about, well, let's step it back to what Secretary Ross had to say. Wilbur Ross came out and said we're miles away because we've moved the goalpost. We started the trade war because we thought there was a trade imbalance with China, and that's already taken care of. China's already made an offer that would make that go away. So moving the goalpost to wrecking made in China 2025 is a different goal. So that's the structural part of what he's talking about. We'd really like to see is fairer trade and less IP theft, and that's going to be more difficult. But to think we're going to end this quarter and the truce that we have for 90 days and not have constructive conversation, at least say, we're not escalating from here, and we're actually on a concrete path to getting this accomplished, is, I think, a major step. Barring that, let's say we end this 90-day period, we end the first quarter, and we escalate. We raise tariffs. That's going to be a disaster. And everything you said today is probably not bearish enough. But I get the sense it's an administration that uses this market as a scorecard for its job. And I think by the end of this quarter, they want something accomplished. They want some good news on trade, and they can do it. They've created this. They can make it go away.
So when you say resolved, do you mean, is it just a truce and we'll talk more, a truce on the tariffs? Because I would say that unless you say we are not going to put any tariff, we're going to take back the tariffs, even a truce is uncertainty. It's still uncertainty that causes businesses to delay whatever purchases they're going to make.
Well, look at the spectrum of concern, right? So the best case scenario is we actually fix all of our problems by the end of the quarter. The China decides that they're not going to steal intellectual property anymore. There's structural changes in China, and they're going to wreck a program they've been working on for a decade to have 40% of the content of Chinese manufacturing by the end of next year come from China and 70% by 2025.